How y'all doing, man? So today we are going to go over the small things, paying attention to the details. This is how, forensic scientists, investigators, they pay attention to the small things to a degree that is just really impeccable. As a matter of fact, there was a program about Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if it's still airing or whatnot. One of my ex-girlfriends used to bring it to my attention all the time, and how thorough he was at what he did. So, into what I wanted to share. There was a time when I was participating with a restaurant, and I was responsible for making oatmeal raisin cookies. And I've been doing it for some time. I thought I was pretty good at it, So there was one particular time where I had scooped what I understood to be everything out of the bowl to place it for storage and or to be baked. Which one I don't quite remember. I think we used to store it first. And the person who was responsible for the operations there brought it to my attention and said, "Look, there's some raisins in the bowl." I'm looking at him like, "Huh?" Just like 3 raisins in the bowl. I'm like, okay, like it's not that serious. And if I recall correctly, what he stated about that was that I would want to refrain from being wasteful. I'm looking at him like, this ninja, you wildin', man. So I got the raisins out of the bowl, put them in with the rest of the batch or the mix or whatever. Went about my business. But it never left my mind. It was, because he didn't really go into, no deep conversation, the why, so forth, the why. He said, we don't want to be wasteful. So even though that was true, we don't want to be wasteful. I'm looking at it's 3 raisins. The issue with that right there, on my part, was that I'm looking at 3 raisins as opposed to looking at it on a grander scale. In this situation, it's only 3 raisins. So it appears. Let's say you magnify that by 10 times. After a while, you have a bag of raisins. Let's say I do that 300 times. So I do that 300 times, that's 300 raisins. What does that add up to? And we're just looking at 3 raisins. I said that to bring us to a point where we start to pay attention to everything in life that way. You think, it's just a bag I threw out the window, or it's just a broken glass on the ground. And that's all it is to you. Again. We have been trained to not pay attention to things, take them for granted, ignore them, and then we find ourselves in compromising, uncomfortable positions. Oh, I wish I had, I shoulda. However, the whole time we're involved in a process or using a thought pattern that's going to take us to the exact place that we don't want to be. And the interesting thing about it is that we continue to find ourselves in these places, or sometimes even really the same place if you look at the idea of it over and over and over and over again. So there was a time when I used to hurt my ankle a lot. It wasn't until I started developing or paying attention to these types of things where I realized that there is something that I'm doing that's causing me to repeat this process over and over and over again. Here's another thing. My father told me that if a bean rolls off the table, you should be looking to see why that bean rolled off the table. Now you check the table's straight, the floor's, everything's cool with the floor. You get a leveler, you see the leveler's off. But like really everything in the house is the way it's supposed to be. So your investigations lead you to a point where you realize the foundation of the house is a little off and the house is sinking. This is your house. You own it. 10, 15 years. The house is going to have a nice lean on it. But that's stuff they drink called lean. But again, all you saw was a bean roll off the table. It's not that serious. It is extremely imperative to pay attention to everything in your surroundings, especially the small things. Why? Because when you deal with the small things, you never find yourself at a point where you have to deal with something big, because you always caught it while it was small. So when you have that one person in your group that surrounds you or whatever, oh, it's not that serious. It'll be best to catch it while it's still small. Hear that little rattle or that, that chest pain you got. Your toes hurting. Somebody's just walking a little bit different one day than they were the other. Tell you, it's not a joke. Again, pay attention to these things and make the proper steps to see to it that they're corrected, adjusted, whatever, before it becomes big. I will that this has been a benefit to someone. And if you know someone who you think may benefit from it, let them know. Yeah, have a good one.